Cause I want you, and I need you, and I'm down for you always. And I'm down for you always. And I'm down for you, down for you, down for you always.
Hello. Welcome to Couch Coaches. I'm your host, Billy Trice. And tonight we have my man, Meer, on the show. How you doing, Meer? What's up with you?
What up, man? I appreciate you having me on the show today, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, bro. No problem. I appreciate you from coming on the show. She's my show, and, you know, I needed some help tonight, so I'm glad that you're able to come on. So, hope everybody's week is doing well. Mir, how's your week going, bro?
Can't complain, man. Syllabus week is over. It's time to get into these classes.
Right. Time to get it in. All right, guys. So, again, tonight we're going to start off with our hot topics, hot off the press. Tonight, so first off, we're going to start on talking about Levon Bell. So, Mir, tell me a little bit about what's going on with Levon and some of the things that have been happening.
Man, well, being a Steelers fan, man, Levon, if you're listening somewhere out there, I don't know what you're doing, but if you're listening, go in, talk to the coaches, sign that contract, man. Levon is holding out. He wants his money. Simple as that. He wants his money. I understand where he's coming from, but at the end of the day, you look at it from a perspective, he's making more than a lot of guys at his position. A lot. And even several of his teammates came out and spoke about it today. You have Raymond Foster's guard. He said he's making 7 times what I make and twice as much as the other guard is making. So when you look at that, that's a lot of money for one of your teammates to say he's making 7 times more money than you. He's not coming in to sign his contract. Is bizarre.
Well, so I totally understand where he's coming from, and if a guy is making 7 times the amount that I'm making, and we're both in the trenches and we're both getting hit a lot, I would feel some type of way about that also. But here's the thing: I was watching Colin Kaepernick a little bit today in between my classes, and TJ Hushmanzada was on there, and he was just explaining the fact that this is a guy who's been in the league, who's been a wide receiver, who's been a decent wide receiver in the league, and has dealt with a lot of controversial players and controversial situations being in Cincinnati. And he was just talking about how it's okay to feel like that, but there's no excuse and there's no reason why you should ever come out into the media and say that, because it's a break of trust. And Meer, you've been in locker rooms before, so that the football locker room is a sacred place, and it's very you don't break that trust.
For sure.
So for these guys to come out and be blatantly disrespectful towards Levon and put this pressure on him, that's not all right, and that's not okay, and that's not how men normally work in these situations. And so, if they had a problem with Levon, and if Levon said, "Oh, I'll be back by Wednesday," and then he doesn't show up, you don't talk to the media about that. That's something that you pick up the phone and you call Levon, like, "Bro, what's up? You said you were going to be here. You're not here. What's going on? Why is this happening?" Yeah. And to Levon's point also, I understand why he's not going. Think about it. If Levon doesn't show up, takes a year off, right? His body, that's a year another year in his career that he'll gain, because that's a season without pounding his body, and then after the season, right, he'll be an unrestricted free agent, and teams are gonna want to pay him way more than what Pittsburgh's offering him right now and what he would make right now. So he'd get that big contract the following year, no matter what. So it makes sense for him business-wise to not show up, because this is not the first time that the Pittsburgh Steelers have done this to Levon.
Not at all.
This is the second time. So Levon's frustrated. He feels like he's put the work in. He stayed clean from the weed for a few seasons. Yes, he's had a few injury problems, but that's the type of back that he is. They use him so much that he gets injured a lot. So in Levon's thing, he's like, look, if you're not willing to pay me, then why am I gonna come?
I understand what you're saying. The one to touch on the situation you were saying about the locker room with the guys, speaking on Bell, I want to say, if you realize and you look at the guys who are talking, it's the linemen. It's supposed to be those are his guys. So yeah, you're right. You really what stays in the locker room, what happens in the locker room stays in the locker
Exactly.
room. Prime example, like playing here, East Stroudsburg. Guys get into it in the locker room all the time. Rather it be practice, off the field issues, but once we leave that locker room, all right, we made sure we settled it in there and things like that nature. But I feel like with these guys, you're gonna, you know what I mean? It's his linemen, running backs and linemen, they have a sacred relationship. So I feel like they feel hurt, because of Le'Veon, and that's supposed to be, this is our guy, and he's supposed to be a leader on the team.
Right.
And you hearing it from other leaders, Mike Pouncey is saying he's selfish. And, Pouncey is hardly ever making statements and with ESPN and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you look on the other hand, Big Ben. Big Ben hasn't said too much about it. Well, we're confident with James Conner. You look at it like that. And the other thing you were saying, if he sits out a year, that would be a smart business move for him. Me personally, it's probably the Steelers fan in me coming out, but I don't want to say he owes the fans anything, but in a sense he does own. You know what I mean? Because let's keep it real. After this season, Le'Veon's probably not going to be a Steeler.
That's the fact of the matter anyway.
But
so
come on, he came before the season even started. He came out and said, "This is going to be my year." I'm not going to sit here and stamp that I'm going to be a Steeler after this season, but y'all going to get the best out of me for this season I am here.
Right.
That's what the Steelers fans are expecting. Everybody, all the Steelers fans know we know deep down in our hearts, Le'Veon is probably not going to be a Steeler after this season.
Facts.
So with that statement that he said, we're like, all right, well we got him for a year. Hey, he said it's going to be his best season as a Steeler. We want to see that. We can't see that if you're not coming in, if you're not reporting to camp, if you're not coming to practice, if you're not going to play in our game.
And I totally understand that, but what the fans and people back home have to realize is that this is a business. This
True.
is not
True.
This is not. And I know, and guys talk about all the time about how they do it for the fans, and they love the fans, and they do. Guys do love fans, and they do care about the fans. But at the end of the day, this is their job. This is their income. This is the way that they make their money. And Le'Veon cannot just look for the. He cannot just be thinking about the now. He has to be thinking about the future, because he's also not a quarterback. Like that's a big element in this, that he's not a quarterback, he's not a lineman, he's not a linebacker. He is a running back. Running backs take a lot of wear and tear, and they do not last long in the NFL. So he has to be smart in his decisions and what he does, because there's a limited amount of time that he gets to make as much money as he can. And for him, he has to capitalize on it. Not everybody's AP where you have 10 plus seasons in the league. That doesn't happen a lot for running backs. The average years for running backs is 6 or 7 years. So he has to think long term, and I think he is thinking long term. Him and his agent are, and that's the reason he's not showing up. If Pittsburgh would have done what they should do and what they actually owe him, which is a long term deal, everything would be fine. But because they don't want to give him the long term deal, he's saying, "Look, I'm not going to risk my body and my career to get franchise tagged and to ultimately maybe, risk my career and risk me making more money." He's not going to do that, and that's smart of him. And to talk about, why Pittsburgh hasn't given him the deal, I understand, why they haven't given him a deal. He's had the drug problems. He's had injury issues. So it's hard for a team to put out a lot of money for a running back who's had prior drug problems and also has, injury issues. So I understand that fact, but, you would want to see both sides meet eye to eye, and they're clearly not. So that's why, we're at where we're at.
I mean, like I said, I completely feel you. I'm not against what Le'Veon is doing. I understand the whole fact that it is a business. You want that long-term security. Like, all right, I know if this just happened, I'm getting my paper. I'm
Right.
getting a paycheck. But the one thing I do want to touch on is when you look at a lot of their athlete stories before they get to college and before they make it to the NFL. And you look at it, these guys were just playing the game just for fun. just the goal of, all right, I want to get to the NFL.
Right.
Your first rookie, Le'Veon was drafted first round, correct?
Yeah.
So he had guaranteed money. Our guy here, Tim Wilson, he just graduated from East Stroudsburg University. He signed his check for what, 500,000.
500,000.
Dude, me playing at the collegiate level, I would do anything to play for any amount of money in the NFL. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like at the end of the day, you're getting paid to do something that was just fun when you were a child. And now we talk a guy, he's making 500,000. He's living his best life.
Right.
Living his best life. This guy is making 7 times more than what the guy who protects this man, who makes sure those hoes can make sure he can get to the end zone to get the stats that he needs. He's making 7 times more money than him. And he's not like I said, I'm not bashing Le'Veon. I understand where he's coming from, and he's complaining about that.
Well, I definitely understand what you're saying, but if you're going to say that, then let's talk about what Big Ben is making, what the quarterback is making. Because those linemen, do we want to look at Big Ben's contract? Because Big Ben is making a lot of money right now, and I bet you it's more than 7 times what that lineman is making.
Oh, for sure.
So for him to eat that's what's even more like just, flabbergasting, because it's just like, why would you mention, he's making 7 times more as you, but you have no problem with Big Ben and how much he's making, and he's making more than you?
Well, the thing is, they probably do. It's just that the fact that Big Ben was in camp, Big Ben was at practice, Big Ben is going to play in week 1.
And I totally but I feel like they're missing the bigger picture. They're missing the fact that Pittsburgh, the Rooneys don't, they don't feel as though Le'Veon is that as big of a value to give him a long-term contract. Then they just feel like his value is not there. So that's what I feel like they're missing out on. They're taking this emotionally, and I get it because, if somebody says they're going to be here, I don't know what he actually said because it's very, very unclear in the article. But, Pouncey said, he's definitely going to be here on Wednesday, and then he doesn't show up on Wednesday. You're like, bro, like, what's going on? Like, that's not thorough. But what they have to understand and have to keep in mind is that this is a business. And so in doing that, you can't just look at the man. You got to think, oh, why would he do something like this? Why is this occurring? And when you think about that and you think about why it's actually happened, not it's happening, you think, oh, wow, maybe I should, be looking at the Rooneys. Maybe if Big Ben wanted him there so bad, why didn't Big Ben say, hey, yo? Because Big Ben's voice matters now.
Right.
He's got them 2 Super Bowls. So, his voice matters. So if he wanted Le'Veon there so bad, he could have went to the Rooneys and been like, hey, I think we need to pay this man.
I get what you're saying, and I wouldn't say it the issue, but I think the thing is that the Steelers, of course, there's no other back that's comparable to Le'Veon Bell right now. I feel as though he's definitely top 3 backs in the league right now.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But being as though that he's so versatile, you could put him in a slot, and he can perfect the run game, perfect the pass game. He can pass block. I mean, can run, pass block.
Pass block.
So, yeah, my bad. I got a little caught up.
You straight.
But, and that's the thing. But I feel like the Steelers are saying, okay, if we lose him, the backs don't come a dime a dozen right now. Like, they're from what the reports are saying, and they're pretty confident with James Conner. And I've actually got like a chance. Like I had several conversations with James Conner because from him being at Pitt, he's a good running back. Like he's not a slouch. So
he's definitely nice.
Yeah.
I liked him, and his story is
amazing,
crazy.
Amazing.
He had cancer, overcame cancer, came back the next year, and balled out. Like his stories, and I remember watching it on ESPN. It was insane. I like it. I watched him. I went to a preseason game. I went to the Steelers-Eagles preseason game, and I watched him play a little bit. And, he looked decent. I didn't see any problems with him, but he's not Le'Veon.
But that's the thing. I feel like the Steelers are going a route. Okay, no, we're not getting Le'Veon, but we can do without Le'Veon.
And that is true. And you know what? And to add on to your point also, The Steelers are in a position where they're going to have to start rebuilding because Big Ben only has a few years left in him. And this team is not even built as a championship team anymore. They lost Shazier, which really killed them, which really killed their defense and their run-stopping abilities. Yeah. And then to add on that, the back end is not, the strongest.
Lack heavy in the secondary.
Is not the strongest. This team is not in a great position to win the Super Bowl.
Especially in that division.
Especially in that division where it's very tough. And you got to play Baltimore twice a year. I just don't see them going to the they might make the playoffs, but I definitely don't see them going to the Super Bowl. The only thing that's saving them right now is that the fact that they have Big Ben. He's a veteran quarterback. They also have AB, who's a bad man, and they did have Le'Veon, but now not anymore. So they're gonna really have to carry on that offense to really propel them to any type of playoff run. But moving on, I want to talk about definitely want to talk about Colin Kaepernick and what's going on there. So what exactly was going on with that situation with Nike?
Of course, the ad, Nike launched the ad, Nike ad featuring, I want to say, Colin Kaepernick. Could we actually pull that up? My opinion, it was great. I mean, I didn't see anything wrong with it. It was a Nike ad, you know what I'm saying, very inspiring, especially if you're an athlete or up-and-coming athlete. That made me want to put my cleats back on and go out on the field.
I felt the same way,
that
bro.
Made me want to put my cleats, lace my cleats back up. But, I went on Twitter. I try to stay off of Twitter now because there's so much negative energy. I try to keep the negative vibes out of my life. And you see, the first thing I see is people burning Nikes, and I'm like, well, what's going on here? And I start to look deeper and deeper, and it's because of people who don't support Colin Kaepernick and are mad that Nike is supporting Colin Kaepernick, so now they don't support Nike. I feel like the whole situation is childish.
I feel you, but hold on. I got the commercial pulled up, so I know you guys can't actually see it. You guys can see it tonight during the Eagles-Falcons game, but I will give you the audio right here. So here we go.
If people say your dreams are crazy, if they laugh at what you think you can do, good. Stay that way. Because what non-believers fail to understand is that calling a dream crazy is not an insult. It's a compliment. Don't try to be the fastest runner in your school or the fastest in the world. Be the fastest ever. Don't picture yourself wearing OBJ's jersey. Picture OBJ wearing yours. Don't settle for homecoming queen or linebacker. Do both. Lose 120 pounds and become an Iron Man after beating a brain tumor. Don't believe you have to be like anybody to be somebody. If you're born a refugee, don't let it stop you from playing soccer for the national team at age 16. Don't become the best basketball player on the planet. Be bigger than basketball. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. When they talk about the greatest team in the history of the sport, make sure it's your team. If you have only one hand, don't just watch football, play it at the highest level. And if you're a girl from Compton, don't just become a tennis player. Become the greatest athlete ever. Yeah, that's more like it. So don't ask if your dreams are crazy. Ask if they're crazy enough.
Yo, bro, just watching that again, it sent chills down my body. Like that commercial is just
make you want to get up and do something, no matter what it is. Make
I'm
you
trying to tell you,
something.
man. I'm trying. That just motivated the mess out of me. It's insane. But no, to respond to what you were saying, I definitely agree. I think it was like a few days ago. I was on Twitter and I saw like Nike's burning. I'm like, what? like, what is going on? Like, this is anything. So I'm watching it, and then I'm like, all right, so let me try and figure out what's going on. So then I look. I already got the notification earlier in the day though about Colin Kaepernick being, on this ad, and I was like, okay, that's cool. And I didn't really think too much of it. And then I saw Twitter blowing up about it. I'm like, oh man, let me go look into this. So then I looked into it, and the crazy part is, that next day, was it Tuesday? I had I'm already on campus, so I had a meeting with my supervisor and stuff like that. We all meet up. We have these meetings throughout the week or whatever. So I'm in the meeting, and our hot topic that we do in our meeting was on that, what we thought about it, and it was insane about how people felt about it. People felt as though they didn't like that. Some people in my, who are a part of my staff felt as though, they didn't like that Colin Kaepernick was on the face of Nike, because he disrespects the anthem, and bro,
that's a whole different topic,
bro. I'm telling you, bro, and I'm in there just listening to him. I'm just like, wow, like people really miss the point, and people don't understand how much that means to people that look like me and you. Like, to see an African American man, to see him especially for what he's standing up for, to be the face of a Nike ad.
It's amazing.
That's powerful, bro.
It's amazing, especially growing up in a community like Philadelphia or like Serena Compton. Like, who would have ever thought like this little girl from Compton would be the quote unquote greatest athlete in the, like? Come on. Like, you mean to tell me that's not motivating some other little girl right now who's watching it? Like,
exactly.
Yo, like, maybe I can make it out of what I'm in right now. Maybe I can make my situation better than what I see right now. Like,
people keep talking about how Nike's just doing it for the money, and maybe they are, but that's besides the point. I feel like Nike, yes, they're realizing that they can make a lot of money off this, but they also see a market.
Right.
They also see that most people who buy and use their products aren't Caucasian
at all. at all.
And so they're backing somebody who is standing up for people who are minorities and who are athletes. Not saying, Caucasian people don't buy or use Nike and that they're not backing Colin Kaepernick too, but the majority of people who, who appreciate what Colin Kaepernick is doing and, who he's actually standing up for are minorities. And for them to notice that and for them to make a great business move and marketing move to market at those people was phenomenal. And it was just great. It was great to see. And it makes you speechless because it's just crazy how, like, some people can literally look at something and see two totally different things, and some people just miss the message.
Yeah, completely.
Completely miss the message of what is going on.
And that's to touch on like what you just said, like, or maybe Nike just doing it for the money, but okay, if maybe those are their intentions, but either way, their message, the message that's being sent across, is still touching somebody else. Like, they might not see, all right, Nike's doing this for the money, so I don't care about this. Like I said, it might be a little girl, a little boy somewhere that's watching this ad. It might be a little kid with no legs. Oh, man. Queen Griffin in the NFL? Oh, he's starting?
Starting.
He's starting in the NFL?
Ladies and gentlemen, he is starting for the Seattle Seahawks. Mind you, he's starting for that team and also playing beside his brother on the same side of the ball.
If stuff like that doesn't inspire you, I don't know what to tell you.
Seriously, like that, like me just saying that on air gave me chills, because that's remarkable. Somebody who's handicapped. You know how many handicapped people out there just feel like that they can't do it or something that they can't do, and then they watch that commercial and they see somebody who's handicapped just like them in the NFL starting, playing beside their brother, like,
or in
it's
Olympic
insane.
Wrestling. Or in Olympic wrestling, winning a gold medal.
Insane, bro. Insane.
Like if that don't inspire you, man, I don't know.
I don't know what else can. Seriously.
Like, all hope might be lost.
Facts. But we're gonna take a quick break, PSA break. On the other end of the half hour, we're gonna talk Eagles. We're gonna talk Khalil Mack, and we're gonna talk a bunch of other things. So stay tuned, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it. You've been listening to 90.3 WSS East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Hello. We are back with Couch Coaches on 90.3 WSS East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. I'm your host, Billy Trice, and I got Meer on with me. What's up, Meer?
Yo.
So, Meer, next on our list to talk about is obviously Khalil Mack and what's going on with him and how he got traded to the Bears, the Chicago Bears. Man, this blew my mind because it was just like, seriously, like when I saw that, seriously, I was like, why? And like, is this serious? This is legit. I thought this was a rumor. First off, the Oakland Raiders hire John Gruden, and when he's hired, he doesn't feel the need to meet with the best player on the Raiders. And yes, you did hear me. I did say the best player on the Oakland Raiders.
I'll go best defensive player.
Best player on the Raiders. Because what did Derek Carr do for you last year?
You can make the argument.
Exactly. So he's not technically the best player. The best player who's been there and who's put out numbers year in and year out has been Khalil Mack. And the guy who is a difference maker on your defense and wins you games is Khalil Mack. So he's your best player. And for you to not feel the need to meet with him and make him feel important, especially when you know he's looking for a contract, is very troubling to me.
But the case they tried to make is the defensive coordinator came out and said, if we'd have signed Khalil Mack to the contract he wanted, we'd have lost 7 guys. How?
First off, that's a lie because you can easily finesse the cap and ask guys to take less money. And if they're not willing to, then you got to find other guys. There's some guys you make exceptions for, and Khalil Mack is one of those guys. So for you to say that just means you didn't really want him on the team, and you
personal issues.
I don't know, bro. I don't know why. I'm literally baffled, and I do not understand how you could literally sit here and say, and make this decision. You know what? I don't really think we need Khalil Mack. I think we can find another one. There is no finding another Khalil Mack. I was watching Colin Kaepernick, and he put up a list of the Oakland Raiders first-round picks. Khalil Mack, Amari Cooper. I don't think Derek Carr was on that list. No, he wasn't on that list. It was Khalil Mack. I guess McFadden, he was all right. But there's only 3 guys on that list that actually panned out to be solid players. And only one of them was still 2 of them were still currently on the team. And Amari Cooper had a down year last year.
Yeah, real suspect.
Real suspect. So the only person who was still being very productive for the Oakland Raiders and was a first-round pick was Khalil Mack. And you traded him away for picks.
That's the thing. If you're going to trade Khalil Mack, get something that's worthy in return. Don't trade him for no. How many picks did they get?
I'm looking at it right now. The Bears gave up a first-round pick in 2019 and 2020, a third-round pick in 2020, and a sixth-round pick in 2019 to acquire Mack.
So you traded.
And the Bears also received a second-round pick in 2020, and a conditional fifth-round pick in 2020.
So you traded your best player and a pick in 2020 for 2 first-round picks in 2 years. And a six-round pick?
It was a first round in next year's draft, and then the year after draft, and then a third-round pick in 2 years from now's draft, and then a sixth-round pick in next year's draft.
Just like me giving you a Rolex and you giving me 4 G-Shocks in return.
That's a great. That's exact. Okay, maybe not 3 G. Okay, maybe 3 G-Shocks and a Fossil.
Still not equivalent to the Rolex.
I understand, but that's basically what it is, and it's just a stupid move. But
what would have really got dark though?
Why?
The Packers were trying to make a strong case to get him though. Like
if the Packers would have got him, the Packers would be my Super Bowl pick.
Yo,
Because the only thing I talked about this on my show last week about how I felt about the Packers and how they're really just reliant on Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. But if they got Khalil Mack, it would totally change their defense because their secondary is average. But if you add an edge rusher to a guy to add pressure on the quarterback, it helps the back end tremendously and makes them look elite.
And that's the thing, though. The Packers have something to give you in return for Khalil Mack.
That is true. They could give you.
It's not going to be, all right, we're going to get the same caliber player.
Time out, though. Who would they have actually given them? If we're going to be completely honest, who would they have actually given up? Because I don't know any. I don't really know who they would give up.
I feel like you would get more than some draft picks. I didn't look too deep into the article. I just pulled it up right before we went on air.
Right.
But I definitely know that, like, every article I put is saying Packers, Khalil Mack, Packers, Khalil Mack.
Oh, I get. Look, now they could get. Now the Raiders do have Jordy Nelson. Am I correct or am I not?
Let's pull that up. I'm not too sure
I'm
about
pretty
that.
sure. I'm pretty sure.
Jordy Nelson is on the Raiders right now.
That's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought. So they could ask for Cobb. What if they got Randall Cobb? And trade with Khalil Mack. I would take that. Or if you're looking for, or let's say you're looking for somebody on the defensive end, right? You could always take Clinton Dix to beef up your. Now, granted, he's not the best player, but
it's something.
Right, it's something.
Somebody.
He's a starter in this league. Also, Kevin King. That could also be a possibility. Now, I don't know if Green Bay would be willing to give up Kevin King. He is a young guy. He did come out in the same draft as Sidney Jones. They're both from Washington, and they both were, premier corners. But, those are options that they could have took that they didn't. So, I don't know. I don't get the – and I think the Raiders are going to struggle heavily this year. And mind you,
definitely.
No, mind you, last year I was high on the Raiders. I thought they were going to do something. I like, the Khalil Mack. I like he was playing well. He was playing at a high level. I liked what their defense was doing. I liked how Amari Cooper was playing Derek Carr. And then last year, Derek Carr stunk the bed. Amari Cooper stunk the bed. Khalil Mack played well, but they couldn't score. They couldn't get any offense going. So that's what was really just frustrating about watching the Raiders last year. And then for them to do this year, for them to lose Khalil Mack, I feel like they're taking a very big step back in their growth to becoming a playoff team and a team that should be worried about.
Definitely. And then when you look at it, what was it, 2 seasons ago when they were in the playoffs and they were making that case like Oakland.
Right,
wow,
Oakland's on the come up.
Like wow, Oakland. Then of course, unfortunately Derek Carr went down. But then that's the thing, that next year we come back and we're like, all right, well, let's see what they're gonna do. They got Carr back. Let's see what they're gonna do.
Right, exactly.
And it's not what you expect. So now we back in this year and we're like, oh, okay, so Oakland.
Maybe, they might bounce back this year.
They might bounce back, and now you just lost arguably your best player on the team, and that's definitely not taking a step in the Super Bowl direction.
And then not to mention, in a few years you're gonna move to Vegas. Like, what is Oakland doing right now? For you to leave this, and my mother's from the Oakland area, the San Jose area, so I know like that feeling. I know that that atmosphere of being there. So Oakland fans are crazy. First off, like there's always reports of people like Oakland fans are so similar to Eagles fans. It's not even funny. Like. If you think Philly fans are crazy, Oakland fans are the same way. They love their Raiders.
Collie? Whew.
It's a different vibe out there.
Yo, definitely different vibe.
So, for them to just take the Oakland Raiders, and I know, Oakland, the Raiders weren't always in Oakland. They were also in LA for a little bit. Mm-hmm. But for you to just take them out of California as a whole and take them to Vegas, that's
Nevada.
just. That's insane. I don't. The fan base in there, for them to not get a new deal for their stadium is just. That's not okay. There's no way you.
Matter of fact, name another city in Nevada other than Vegas.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
Give me 3.
Don't worry, I'll wait. Exactly. It just makes no sense at all. But moving on, Meer, what's our next topic, bro?
We have this Bama quarterback situation.
Oh yeah, gotta talk about that. After
Bama, they played. I don't even know who they played. Who did they play? They played definitely. They played an FCS team. Ended up winning. I want to say 41-8, 48-1. They ended up blowing the team out. And the ESPN reporter, she asked Saban pretty much like how do you feel both of the quarterbacks play? You know, with being they have Hurts and Tagovailoa both playing, and she asked him, well, how do you feel about?
Not to interrupt you, bro, but they played Louisville.
Louisville.
So they played. What were they? ACC, right?
Yeah, ACC.
ACC, yeah.
Yeah, so they played Louisville. Ended up blowing them out.
Yeah, 51-14.
Bad. Bad. Saban was asked about the quarterback situation, and he kind of went on a rant, basically saying, wow, why do you guys keep on asking me, want me to badmouth both of these guys, and I'm not going to do that, and this, that, and the third, when simply the question was, how did you feel both of the quarterbacks played? Right. It was a simple question. I feel like Saban was definitely out of line. Saban was in his feelings. Saban was Drake in his feelings after the game. I don't know why. They actually came up with a blowout. Yeah, Nick Saban, if you're listening out there, that one's for you. That's for you right there. But I mean, come on now, like Nick Saban, you've been coaching in the SEC for how long? Right. Like, and first of all, you know you're going to get these questions, and then you didn't even get the question. It was a simple question. How do you think both of the quarterbacks played? You've been coaching for a long. You could easily, even if you felt like they were trying to get you to badmouth one, I'm pretty sure you know how to finesse a question like that. Like players and coaches at this level are not trained, but I want to say almost
are used to it.
Yes, like all right.
This is the norm. This is the norm of being in that spotlight. And I totally agree with you, and I'm glad you actually said that, because what frustrates me the most is when coaches come out and fire back at reporters and stuff like that, and then they're the same people who get mad at the players for doing the exact same thing. It's
sad.
That is what that infuriates me. It pisses me off to the fact that you feel as though you're better than the player, and you're over the player, where you can act in that manner, and that they can't. And that they don't feel like answering stupid questions and mind you, that wasn't even, like you said, it wasn't even a stupid question. It was a very simple question, and he wasn't trying to pin. It wasn't a slick question either, to where, you know, some reporters are very good in the fact of they're trying to get a certain answer out of you, but they're asking it in a certain way, but you know what they're trying to really get you to ask. I mean, get you to answer. It wasn't even that. It was a very simple, bland. Who do you think? Like, how do you think they both played?
And I feel like that's a question any reporter was going to ask.
Exactly.
But any other team,
exactly.
It could have been Ohio State, Clemson, any team in the NFL, any collegiate Division II. You play two.
If you play two quarterbacks, you're going to get that question asked.
They're going to ask you, how do you feel both of the quarterbacks played? You know, and I just feel like I don't know. Maybe, you know, he woke up on the wrong side of the bed that morning. Maybe somebody said something to him before the meeting, before the game. I don't know. But Saban was definitely...
for him to be... It's not like they lost.
Right.
Like, I can maybe give you a little leniency if you lost the game. You won easily. And you're complaining about getting a... Come on, man.
Against another Division I FBS team. Like, you know, the first week of college football is normally all blowout because everyone wants to schedule, you know, these FCS games. But
they get into the flow of playing, yeah.
They beat a worthy team who had a Heisman winner just a
last
season
year,
ago. And
Lamar Jackson.
Not to mention that, but before we go any further, Nick Saban did apologize to the reporter. He did apologize. I believe after his wife made him apologize, but he did.
As she should.
That's
how you. Hey, yo, you always need a good woman in your life to tell you when you're wrong.
Nonetheless, he did apologize. But to touch more on this QB situation, they definitely need a solidified starter.
And I was just about to say that. I feel like that's where the anger's coming from, because Saban knows that he's got to make a decision, but he doesn't want to, because he loves Jalen.
Of course.
He loves Jalen. He cares about Jalen, and he doesn't want to disrespect him, and he doesn't want to bench him. But I think deep down in his heart, he knows that Jalen can't be the starter of this team, because he's not a great quarterback.
And that's the thing. The reason Alabama went on that run they went last year, not to take anything from Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts had an outstanding season last year. But now teams have to drop on that. Like if you look at how Georgia was playing Alabama, they were playing the perfect defense for Alabama because they had 12, 13 games to scout Hurts. If you watch that championship game, the whole defensive scheme was against stopping Hurts. It wasn't against every other team in the SEC you look, they want to
stop the run, stop the pass,
stack the box. Yeah. Or if they got, the year when they had Amari Cooper and Calvin Ridley, they want to, put forward deep and bracket them, with a safety over top of over their star caliber receivers. And that's the thing. Georgia took a different approach, and it worked. So now, Jalen Hurts is put in a position. I have to play quarterback now. I cannot be the athlete that helped us win these 13 games or 12 games. I have to play quarterback. I have to actually read a defense, and unfortunately, Hurts he's not that player. He cannot do that at a collegiate level. I want to say in the SEC.
He's not. Yeah, I just don't see him. When I watch him play, I just don't see quarterback in him. I see a guy who's athletic and can throw the ball, but he doesn't have. Not saying, when I say mental, everybody, I'm not talking about like his, actual smarts and like how he can. I'm talking about football knowledge
IQ,
and football IQ. His football IQ is not at the level that it needs to be to be a quarterback, because quarterback, and Meer can definitely agree to this. Playing quarterback is not the easiest position to play
at all.
You got to know what everybody is doing. You got to know what the defense is doing, and then know how to exploit it. So, it's not everybody's blessed with those abilities. That's why only the greats play the position, and only the greats are successful at it. But I don't see Jalen being on that level. That's why I like the young kid. I don't even know how to say his name. Talakalova.
Oh, now you done messed me up. I said it right the first time. Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa. I'm just gonna call him Tua by his first name. His first name is Tua.
Tua.
It's actually longer than that, but
they be shortening it out.
It's Tua.
No, but when he came into that national championship. For him to have the poise, no, seriously, for him to have the poise to come into a national championship game in the middle of it and to ball out the way he did, that's crazy.
And that's the thing I want to touch on. A lot of people downgrade, the opening and the Elite 11 and things like that, and say like, all right, it's all politics. When you look at these guys who are like Tagovailoa, he was an Elite 11 quarterback and came into a national championship game down. And brought them back to win through a game-winning touchdown. You look at Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm, another Elite 11 quarterback, came in the first game of the season. His starting quarterback got hurt and didn't. They lost 2 games if you include the national championship. Yeah. Like that's what these guys. So to the people who downplayed Nike, the opening and the Elite 11s and all the combines and stuff like that, I can testify. For some of it is politics. I was my senior year. I went to the Nike Open and the regional combine. Some of it is politics, but I can legit say the Elite 11, if those are the top guys because they go with the what's the guy's name? The quarterback, he played for the Browns.
Who now?
Palmer. Is it Palmer's brother?
Who? I know.
Not Carson.
Not Carson Palmer, but his brother. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I want to say he was the opposite of Hurts. He had the mental, he had the football IQ, but it never translated to the field because he wasn't as athletic. That's why he coaches quarterbacks now. So, and that's the thing.
Jordan Palmer.
Those guys, when they send those guys up to the elite, like the top 3 Elite 11s, they're legit guys because they have both the mental and the athletic standpoint. You look at a lot of guys. If you really watch, I've been following this for a long time because I played quarterback my freshman year of high school actually. And when you look at like the guys who win and the guys who make it, like of course, like guy like Tate Martell. Tate Martell was Elite 11 quarterback, but he didn't win.
Right.
He was Elite 11 quarterback because he had the athletics, but the mental wasn't there. You look at these guys, like I said, the top 3, the final 3 guys who are 9 times out of 10, like the top 3 in the Elite 11, 9 times out of 10, they have both mental and the athletic standpoint of playing a quarterback. That's why I said I wasn't surprised when Tagovailoa got in the game. Like if you asked anybody who's watching that game, I said Alabama's going to win this game. Once they sub Hurts, I said Alabama's going to win this game.
That's crazy. No, I definitely I see what you're saying. My thing, I'm a big believer in 7-on-7s don't mean nothing to me.
Oh, for sure.
7-on-7s don't mean anything
sure.
to me because of the fact there's no pads on. You're throwing, you're throwing to basically wide open guys because
set up for the offense.
That's what I'm saying. So when I see some of those guys going to those camps and I see that they're ranked this and that because of these combine and these camps, I take it with a grain of salt because of that fact, because there's no pads and there's no live situations with pads. But I do agree with what you're saying. Some of it is politics, but some of these guys are just naturally the best guys.
Yeah, legit the guys.
So, some of that stuff does happen. But moving on, when we get to our last topic of tonight, we got to preview this Philadelphia Eagles game against the Atlanta Falcons.
Whew.
The boys are back in town.
Whew.
Man, it feels so. If you don't know, I do have my Philadelphia Eagles T-shirt on today. I had to rock it for them. We're Super Bowl champs. I can't wait for that band to go down, bro.
Hey man, that's last year when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I'm not an Eagles fan. I'm a Steelers fan, as I said before. But that was good for the city. That was I was ecstatic.
Bro, I was so tight because we was up here.
Oh yeah,
and
in the snow.
It was snowing. People were outside up here in the snow, like running around, crazy hype. I saw Snapchat videos from back in Philly. Like Broad Street was lit. Joel Embiid was out there. It was crazy. My man was calling me. He was like, "Bro, I'm down here. It's lit." Yeah, my man crazy. Josh, shout out to you, Josh, if you listening. But yeah, he was like, they was all just down there like having a good time, bro. I was so tight that I was up here, and I was on duty that night, so I couldn't even go out, bro. I was so tight. I was so tight.
It was definitely lit in Strasburg.
Definitely, but so let's talk about this game.
Whew.
Clearly, Carson Wentz isn't starting like I thought he was going to. It hurts my heart a little bit. Nick Foles will be the starter. There's a lot of questions surrounding Nick Foles and him being the starter tonight. He's had a bad preseason. He didn't throw one touchdown pass all preseason. He looked very shaky. But you have to also take that with a grain of salt because they are not game planning for those games at all. And there is a lot of vanilla defenses, but a lot of vanilla offenses. But you know what also surprised me this year in the preseason? Just a little side note was there was a lot of blitzing, and you normally don't see that in preseason. But and it wasn't just against the Eagles; like it was all around. I was watching all preseason games, and there was a lot of blitzing, and that normally doesn't happen. So that's why a lot of defenses look really good this year. But getting back to the game at hand, look, this Eagles team, yes, they're missing. They are missing Matt Collins. He just got put on IR. They are missing Alshon Jeffrey. He's not back yet, but they do have Brandon Graham. But they also don't have Timmy Jernigan. But they did bring in Bennett and Elodie Nada. So they have guys to plug in some spots where they're lacking at. The wide receiving core I'm a little worried about because all we really have is Aguilar, Ertz, and Goddard. So those are our main guys that we really have to receive the ball. And then I'm wondering what they're gonna do with Nick Foles and how they're gonna handle that situation. The Atlanta Falcons. Both games that the last time we played the Atlanta Falcons was in the divisional round, and we almost lost that game. It was crazy. I remember watching. I was screaming at the TV in the lounge in Hawthorne. But the Eagles are going to have their work cut out for them. The DBs are definitely going to get tested tonight because Atlanta knows that Philly's DBs, Jalen Mills, Ronald Darby, they all like to play aggressive. They all want to jump. They're all ball hawkers. They all want to jump on that ball. So they have to be careful of the double moves because they got caught and burnt by those double moves a lot last season. So they have to be aware of that, and they have to be on their P's and Q's because Atlanta has receiving weapons. They have Mohamed Sanu. They have Julio. They just have weapons all around, and not to mention that they have the Penn Charter product, Matt Ryan back there. So I'm always scared to play Matt Ryan because for some reason he always comes into the link and gives us a good game and always plays well. Probably because he's back home and had a nice home cooked meal by his mother. So that's probably the reason why he plays so good when he plays in Philly. But Meer, what do you feel as though we should expect from this game tonight?
Well, to touch on that Falcon offense, you said of course Matty Ice. Julio Jones, Muhammad Sanu, that receiving core is crazy. Not to mention the addition of Calvin. Calvin Ridley is going to have it.
I think he's a little overrated, bro. I think he's a little overrated.
Calvin Ridley was better at Bama than Amari Cooper. Stamp. You can check your stats. Check your stats. You can stamp it. Check your stats. Calvin Ridley is going to be a candidate for Rookie of the Year.
Do you really think so?
Record it. Write it down. Take a snapshot. Calvin Ridley is going to be a candidate for Rookie of the Year. Ball skills is out of this world.
The only problem I think I have with Calvin Ridley is his versatility on the route tree. That's what scares me, because in college that can work for you, but when you get to the pros, you have to be able to run more than run a fly in a post.
Everybody
in a
says
corner.
that. Everybody says that. Deshaun Jackson made a living off of it.
That is true.
Deshaun Jackson made I pull up tape of Deshaun Jackson running a slant or a hitch. I have never in my life seen Deshaun Jackson run a hitch.
Hold on though, because that's my boy. I love me some D-Jack. But Andy Reid in his offense, he had D-Jack running across the middle a lot. He would run shallow drags. He would run deep drags. So he did have to, change his game and make himself more versatile. When he first came into the league, coming out of Cal, yes, he was running post routes. He was running fly routes because that's what he was good at. But D-Jack was also very good in and out of his cuts, in and out of his routes, and he was a master at that. So he could definitely here's the thing with D-Jack. Here's the main thing with D-Jack. He could run many routes. He didn't like to run a lot of those routes. That's the difference.
I get what you're saying on that. But the thing is, though, you have to look at who's around Ridley. Ridley's not going to have,
You're right. No, I was just thinking about that, too.
He's not going to have,
right.
all right, we need a slant. Cover, you got Julio and Muhammad Sanu on the other side. He's not going to have to do that. Funny thing, next after that, touch on a few things about the Eagles. They haven't lost a home game since December of 2016.
I love the sound of that.
Nick Foles hasn't lost a home game since October of 2013.
Go ahead. Keep giving me the stats, bro. Go ahead. You just make me more excited. I can't wait till 8:20.
Just to touch on the defense is bananas.
Think about this. The defense has upgraded.
The defense is bananas. It's going to be. I feel like that's what the game is going to be. That Eagles defense going against the Falcons offense. How many times can the Eagles defense stop their offense? I feel like that's going to be the game. Are we giving scores? I'm scared to give it. I don't want to give a score.
Go ahead. We can do scores. Go ahead.
We're giving scores.
We'll see. We'll see if we're right next week.
All right. Initially, I said 21-17 Philly. I'm going to go 17-14 Philly.
I like that. It's not going to be a high-scoring game. I don't think
17. It's the first game of the season. Like I said, that defense against that offense. Everybody preseason Eagles offense looked tragic. It was tragic.
It hurt me.
I'm going to go 17-14 Philly.
I think I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go 21-14. Philly.
21-14 Philly.
21-14 Philly.
I had 21-17 at first.
Yeah, 21-14 Philly. I think we'll get a last fourth quarter touchdown to put us up.
I feel like it's definitely gonna come down.
And that's how we're gonna win. Again, we're gonna win just like we did in the playoffs, barely by a hair. But a win's a win. A win is a win. Hopefully Carson Wentz will come back next week and then we'll get our full team back. But I want to thank Meer. Meer, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I want to thank you guys.
Anytime.
I want to thank you guys for listening to Couch Coaches. Please, guys, follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. Just put in Couch Coaches. I'll pop up. Or put in Billy Trice, King Bills on Instagram. Please follow me. I put up polls and stuff like that. And you can also contact me and let me know anything you guys want me to talk about. But you are listening to 90.3 WSS East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Peace, guys.
In Brazil, the front-runner in the presidential election, Jair Bolsonaro, is stabbed on the campaign trail. His son has been speaking.
There's a shocking video of a man trying to stab him in the heart. But thank God there was someone